Intergenerational. We have our Gen X and our millennials, Gen Z and boomers. TikTok generation's war over side parts and skinny jeans, and even familial groups remain woefully unconnected. But reaching out and connecting with someone who's a different age can have positive effects on everyone. Those 5 minutes you spend talking to a parent, grandparent, child, or grandchild can help you build connections, whether you're building from the ground up or expanding on a pre-existing connection. In fact, these relationships allow us to connect with people of different generations and foster better social outlooks, both aimed at reversing ageist stereotypes. For the older age group in the relationship, especially grandparents and those over the age of 60, they struggle with technology. Apps like FaceTime help us see those who aren't a part of our day-to-day lives. But since these technologies were developed much later in the lives of those over the age of 60, they face an education gap. Imagine trying to decipher the workings of an iPhone, social media, and video calls all at once. Simply put, it's not easy. This lack of connectivity due to their inability to reach out can lead to social isolation, which can be detrimental to health, even leading to an earlier death, as one study by AARP showed. Now, I'm not saying that neglecting close communication with older family members will be so devastating, but reaching out can help with social isolation. Considering that isolation involves feeling lonely and leads to inflammation in the brain, feeling useful and less lonely can reduce this inflammation and help with overall health. Besides the health benefits, it's simply nice to reach out. 61% of grandparents reported wanting to know more about their children and grandchildren's lives, which means that over a majority feel they're out of the loop. But even a simple phone call or meeting can change a lot of variables. When connecting more frequently to the young, grandparents reported a 73% increase in life and well-being satisfaction. These benefits carry over to the younger ones in the relationship as well. As Yuri Bronfenbrenner famously concluded, every child needs at least one adult who's irrationally crazy about him or her. Over the past few years, new research shows that children need as many as 4 to 6 involved and caring adults to fully develop emotionally and socially. For me, this would include my parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. I'm fortunate enough to have more than 4 to 6 adults who care about me and my life. But these adults can be anyone, not even a relative. Even a dance teacher can be a part of the circle that together makes you you. But I understand how these relationships can be hard to create or deepen, especially with certain age groups and people. No matter how hard I try to connect with my grandpa, he's unable to fully understand or respond to what I'm asking or saying. My grandpa has dementia, which impacts his cognitive thinking skills. He's unable to remember what he ate for dinner or whose house he went to, and it makes communication and connection extremely difficult. But we have to put in the effort. Every time he visits, he gets so much joy out of tossing a ball around with my little sister or laughing at something silly one of us does. My grandpa, along with my mom, was the main one who helped me learn to read. He would read me hours and hours of the Berenstain Bears, and we've watched a great number of stupid movies that we've ridiculed together. So far, I've said a lot about connecting with the elderly, but this process works in reverse too. I could learn from and connect with a kindergartner too, no matter how sticky and loud they may be. In this relationship, I am the older one, so I reap the benefits of mentoring while the preschooler babbles to me. I tried this out at Wilson Primary Center, where I read 2 books to a kindergarten class and asked them some questions. As soon as I began reading, I was incredibly impressed with the level of attention they gave me, especially considering it was past their lunchtime. They were remarkably attentive and laughed and giggled at all the right parts. I never thought I could learn something from a room full of kindergartners, but I did. I learned about paying attention, which is especially difficult for me after a pandemic. Even I, someone who's had 9 years of formal education, find it difficult to pay attention in class sometimes after being virtual for so long. More than that, I really developed a connection with these kids who had very different outlooks on life. There was one kid who was very confident in his dinosaur facts, since we read We Don't Eat Our Classmates, and another who was extremely passionate about the 300 tuna fish sandwiches that the dinosaur in the story eats. Even if the discussion went off on a tangent, I was able to develop a connection with these kids in a short period of time. And I find it's even easier to deepen a connection rather than start a new one. Once that initial conversation is out of the way, it becomes a lot easier to build a bridge with someone. However hard it is to make or retain connections now, the battle is clearly worth it. But how do we keep reaching out? For once, the pandemic gave us a bit more of a solution. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, there was an increase in communication between younger and older people, with 60% reporting that they've been spending more time on the telephone, speaking with relatives and people of different age groups and generations for mutual emotional support and skill sharing. We need to continue that trend. Saying hi is one thing, but even asking mundane questions can help deepen the conversations. If you ask your grandma what she ate for dinner, follow up and ask what her favorite food is. Continue the conversation. You might be surprised by how little you know about people who you may see every day, but you'll soon learn all sorts of fascinating things. Another solution is to get involved in an intergenerational initiative in your community, like Generations United, or to make efforts to strike up conversations with someone from a different peer group, even if you just see them on the street. For pre-existing relationships, kids could interview someone from a different generation, or the entire family could go on a trip together. Everyone will learn something about each other, and young people will soon realize that being older isn't better or worse, just different. These actions can also help us reverse generational stereotypes, also known as ageism. Communities are currently divided by age, but connections help children look beyond ageist stereotypes. With regular communication, we can move beyond programs and projects and start to integrate intergenerational relationships into everyday life. So get out there. Call your grandparents, your parents, your children, and your relatives. Talk to the kind old gentleman who you see walking his dog in the park every day. Volunteer to read to a kindergarten class. Ask questions about their lives and learn something new. Whether they're younger or older, I guarantee they will have an impact. Make intergenerational connections everywhere you go, because everyone will benefit from it. Get out there and connect. Thank you.